Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone Boozy and Breakfast with Vernell. Here to entertain, and we will help you live well. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are welcome in the essence. This broadcast, Brownstone, the light is contagious. But you need go on and receive it for yourself. Just open it, exuberant, evolution, excited. We standing on the foundation of expression. You might have seen, you might have been, or you could have gravitated. Our foundation, we want to create a space for all to collaborate and be liberated from eventually all over the globe. And we are extending a hand to those who are an extension from maybe platforms, dig into another stratosphere. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone Boozy and Breakfast with Vernell. Here to entertain, and we will help you live well. And that is MSG, the message in the message. I can OD on my execution of excellency. And this as a man right now, and things aren't created, but see true.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Brownstone. I'm Paulette. I'm the owner and founder of Brownstone Worldwide, which houses, you guessed it, brownstoneworldwide.com for news and information that you can use. Cityscape Radio, where our podcasters are housed. They're on hiatus right now for our season break. And lastly, you guessed it, Brownstone Living Magazine. Today on Brownstone's Best Business Review, I'm talking to my good friend LaShawn Davis, who is over the HR Plug. She is the CEO and founder of this amazing organization that makes sure that you are well taken care of in corporate America as an HR professional and beyond. But beyond that, we have a surprise for you today, but we're going to bring her up first because we've got a ton of conversation that we need to do. And let's get started, shall we? I'm going to go ahead and bring up LaShawn really quick and step away for just a hot second. Hey, girl. Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
Come on in this room. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for creating a space that allows us to truly speak freely for us.
Yes. And it is just for us. But I want us to also understand that not only is it for us, by us, but we are including everybody in the neighborhood. Because
everybody need to know.
Everybody need a neighborhood, whether we virtual or not. And in this space, we are excited, number one, to have you to return to the Brownstone. This is not your first soiree with us. That's number one. And so we're proud to have you and honored that you would take time out of your busy day to come and hang out with us. That's first. Give us a rundown of who you are for all of the folks that don't recall and are new to us.
Absolutely. So, hey, Brownstone, I am LaShawn Davis. I am the founder and CEO of the HR Plug, but most importantly, I help you understand as individuals, professionals, or leaders how to find greatness in life and in your career. And professionally and corporate-wise, I do that by teaching organizations how to value people as humans first. And in your personal life, I helped you gain alignment with your purpose and your career so that you gain fulfillment and you can achieve success the way that we're intended to. So that's a little bit about me.
Okay. That's all.
I mean, it's a lot, but I know we got a limited amount of time. But I will say that I am, an ally and an advocate for all things wellness in the workplace, healthy in the workplace, and positioning you to thrive well in the workplace.
Yes, and that is so important. And that's the one thing that I've always loved about who you are, and what you present and represent, first of all, to corporate America and to employees, both in the corporate level and those who are, like I like to call them, ground level, doing the grunt work. You treated everyone the same, and you
Front
still do.
line, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, my thing is that everyone has a role to play in helping a business to become successful, because nobody is an island. And I wish more people understood that. But that's not why we're here today, is it?
That's not why we're here.
We said, first of all, we're going to talk about your event towards
Okay.
the end. But I also wanted to chat with you about something that we kind of been having a conversation about. And you call it the miseducation of corporate America.
Yes.
Well. Let's just go ahead and just lay it out for everybody. What exactly do you mean?
The miseducation of corporate America, it's the theme of the Unplug Experience Conference that's taking place. But where it stems from is from Carter G. Woodson. And in 1933, he wrote a book called The Miseducation of the Negro. And in that book, he discusses one of my favorite quotes, which says, if you can control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about their actions.
My
And
God.
that was what was stifling Black Americans during that time frame. They were allowing society to dictate who they were and what they become. And so as I studied this and looked at this, I realized a seemingly glaring parallel between that and what we allow corporate America to do to us as professionals today. So
Yes.
if you can control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about their actions. Where corporate America, and when I say corporate America, I mean your boss, your employer, your manager, that company, the society, all of the above have, in a sense, controlled who you are and what you believe you can become while working your career or your professional life. And I can dive deep into that, but on the premise, that's what it's about. It's about, you know, us breaking free from being defined by a company who all we really need from them is a paycheck, a source, an income revenue stream. That is the extent of our relationship. However, because you give me a title and you give me a pay band, you believe that you telling me who I am and the trajectory of what I have the ability to make. Because if I can't be a VP, a director, or above, you leave me right here. And unfortunately, as professionals, we believe that. We take that and we stay working for employers who do not see the value of who you are or what you bring. And not only do they not see it, but they really don't even care. We care more about what we look like to them than they care about what they look like to you. And until we break that cycle, we will forever be enslaved still as free people, because we allow a company to tell us who we are, where we can go, and how far we can make it. That has to stop. If we're really going to take back our power, we have to break that cycle. We have to change that trajectory. We have to unwash the brainwashing that is riddling our people in our community everywhere, no matter what your race is. If you've ever said, I can't do something I want to do because I can't miss work, then you're brainwashed. Because what it should be is, I have something to do, job, so I'm not going to be able to be here, but I will be back. And when I get back, I will get it done. But a lot of us are too afraid to say that because a lot of us don't even know who we are. And we're living in an identity that they created for us. And because they created this identity, then we're people pleasing to make sure we can't have them mad at me. I don't want to get fired. I don't want to get written up. So all of that is saying that you're choosing to live in fear. And that's not something that I will do. And that's a charge that I'm trying to lead through this conference. We got to understand you are a distinguishable, indispensable asset. You offer something that no one else can offer. And if you step away from that job, they're going to hurt more than you need them. Until we acknowledge or recognize that, we will never prosper as people.
I had to pull out the fan. All right, the doors of the church are open.
But I mean, you think about it. You think about it. I got to ask for a raise. I got to ask for a promotion. I got to compete to do this. I got to compete to do that. I can't get tattoos. I can't dye my, like, why are we allowing an entity who needs you to deliver the results that they get to control how you see yourself, how you think about yourself, how you value yourself, and what you strive to achieve? But the reason why so many of us are walking around ignorant in corporate America is because we're ignorant to who we are. We don't even know who we are. And so until people take that time to discover and go through that self-discovery process, they'll forever be lost and burnt out working for an employer who could care less about them.
My God. And you said that with your whole chest. You meant every word of it.
Every word.
And I thank you for that, because in so many ways, so many of us are still dealing with that, and we haven't recognized who we are. And so we remain on people's jobs where anxiety is the middle name that we have been given when we pull up into the parking lot or when we log in to our places of employment. We're constantly reminded of how inept we are, because there's somebody above them, above us, that's constantly reminding us of what it is that we didn't do right, what we could have done better, the metrics. And I get that you have to have your data analytics in order to measure how the company is doing to remain profitable. But when you are, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm looking at it from a former employee, when you are measuring employees to the point where they're being browbeat, when you have created a culture where there are big I's and little U's in order to maintain this ant farm type of mentality, who really grows in all of that? Help me to understand that. Does anyone?
Not personally, no. Profitably for the company, yes. That's what grows. But you know, companies don't put people before profits. They put profit first. And that's the only thing that grows in those toxic environments that we tolerate.
Right. And so what are some of the things that you can say to those who will be watching and listening later? Because of course, we're going to make sure this is evergreen, because you walked in the door powerful. What would you say to employees who are experiencing this? First of all, what do I look for as an employee, recognizing that I have been miseducated by corporate America?
If you've been in that same job at that same pay, give or take 3% increases that you get every year for a period of over 3 years, you're brainwashed, because by 3 years, you should have mastered that job and you are functioning at a higher capacity than what that job requires, because you've learned it and you've grown it. And now you can probably teach it. But because they told you, no, you can't be a manager or a supervisor, you decided to stay here. And no longer are the days where we stay at a job for 20, 30 years and then we're proud of the tenure that we built in this company. That is so outdated and antiquated in thought, because there are no loyalties from a company trying to keep you there for 20 to 30 years in the same. So I think if you're sitting in a situation where I've been in this role for more than 3 years, I've been making around the same amount of money for the past 3 years, and I enjoy what I'm doing, but I know that there's more to me, I know that I can stretch, I can grow, then you're a victim, as I like to say, of corporate brainwashing.
And knowing this, knowing this, do you think that human resource departments are a guilty party in this?
Absolutely. I think a lot of HR also is misinformed and miseducated. And it grieves me when I hear people say, HR is here to protect the company, or, HR is not for employees. And when I hear that, or when I see that, what I always say is, no, that's just your HR. But HR as a designed industry, they are here to do the right thing.
Yes.
Whether that is for the employee or for the organization. But they too have become brainwashed to think, if I advocate or if I stand up or if I do my job the right way, I might myself get fired and then I won't have a job. But see, that fear of being fired, or that fear of being without income, is your own fault, because nobody said that corporate America was supposed to be your only income stream. You should be treating it like one of several income streams, so that when those people don't treat you right, you can walk away on your own terms and not have to rely on them because you know who you are. When people stay in an abusive relationship that corporate America can become, I tell them, don't judge a friend who's staying in an abusive relationship with their significant other because you're doing the same thing. You be like, why you don't leave him? Why you don't da-da-da-da? Well, why you haven't left that job? It's the same type of toxicity, but we tolerate it and we accept it because we think we need them. But I'm here today to tell you, Paulette, and your audience that you don't. You need to make yourself an indispensable asset. That's how I was able to dye my hair pink as an executive in corporate America, and not compromise who I am or what I see as professionalism. Yeah. I didn't let them box me in or tell me, here's what you can make, here's what you need to look like, here's how you have to dress. And when I said no, do you know why I still work there and why they couldn't fire me? Because they realized they need me. Because I've been able to nestle myself into my niche, into my gifts, and into my purpose that they did not give me, nor can they take away from me. And once you've been able to nestle and settle into your sweet spot, you will find that people will find you, jobs will find you, opportunities will find you. Hustle and chasing is not what we were designed to do. We were designed to attract. We were designed to be a magnet. And if you find yourself chasing the bag, you find yourself hustling, you find yourself miserable, it just means you're not in alignment with the purpose for your life. So get into alignment with understanding who you are, your purpose, and start building income streams so that you're not relying on that abusive relationship to sustain you, because they are just a resource. They are not your source.
Hold on.
You get me going, Paulette. You get me going, because it's when you see, it's like you see somebody walking or driving, right? And the bridge is gone. So you see them driving, and if they keep driving, they're going to just plummet into the ocean. And you're trying to tell them, hey, stop, go. But they're not listening because they're like, I like my car. Ain't no traffic. I'm good. And that's what I see when I see people coming to what corporate America has created. I see you missing out on all these opportunities, the purpose of your life, why you're here. Understand you are a solution. There are people assigned to you. And the question you need to ask yourself, how many people are struggling or suffering because you're not doing what you need to be doing by tapping into your purpose and finding your audience and being that solution that they need you to be? How many people are suffering because of you?
Come on. Amen. Oh, I felt like we just went to church and we were bathed in the waters at the River Jordan on today with the words that you have given us. And so many of us definitely need to hear us. I will say this, that's why a lot of people remain on jobs where it no longer serves them because of the status that they believe that they have. And really, once you sit back and you think about it, what does that really mean when I say I'm a supervisor? I want to be a supervisor. I've heard so many people say that, or I want to work in human resource. I want to be an HR, because of the status of that, or the money that comes with that. But what I'm hearing you say is that the value is within you, and the company does not define who you are. And whatever you need in order to survive and to live and to breathe and to exude, number one, is already within you. And when you are walking in your purpose, it's going to find you anyway, because you hold the value. Bingo. And the company, these organizations do not tell you who you are. Now, let's talk about this. There are so many people, LaShawn, who remain at companies where they are absolutely miserable based upon this very topic because of the miseducation of corporate America and what they have done to so many employees over the years with the culture and so forth. And people have this idea that they need to remain where they are because this is due. I got this. This is happening. The kids are graduating and so forth. How do we tell people, and what is the strategy necessary? First of all, how do we tell people, and how do you communicate to people your value is not in that company? You're not telling people to leave a job, but when you're miserable, when you're upset, when you're angry, when you know every time that you walk in there, it's like listening to chalk, fingernails on a chalk all day long.
Yeah.
Why and how do you help people to understand that it's okay to trust their inner voice that says, you are more than enough.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time for you to go. How do we break that in people?
I think it definitely starts first with enlightenment and education, right? And I think people stay where they're comfortable, even if they're miserable. I'll say that again. People stay where they're comfortable, even if they're miserable. If you have a car that breaks down every month, you're comfortable because you don't have any car payments, but you're miserable because every time that car breaks down, you got to go to the shop, you got to get, you got to wait, you got to be without a car for a period of time. But the thought of not having that payment every month keeps you comfortable. My question is, why are you choosing to struggle? Why are you choosing to struggle? If God wants more for you than you want for yourself. And I think the key is you got to love yourself more than you love that job. And or that income.
Right.
And the first step would be, if you're miserable in a job that you're in right now, or there's more for you and you've applied for every type of promotion, you've interviewed, but they're not selecting you. That doesn't mean that you're unworthy. That doesn't mean that you are not supposed to be at that level. It just means that you're not in the right place where people value who you are or what you bring to the table. One of my favorite quotes by Caroline Wanga is, if you cannot be who you are, where you are, you don't change who you are. You change where you are. So leave the job. There will be other jobs. You can find other jobs, but there's no point in suffering. It's really easy for me, Paulette, to sit here and tell you that back when slavery was abolished, how many Black people still chose to be slaves because they were fearful of figuring out how to live independently on their own? When you choose to be a slave, you're choosing to stay in bondage, indoctrined to an organization or an entity that could care nothing about who you are, only what you can contribute to their bottom line. Why would you choose to stay there? That's how you have to see this. Not that I need this job. Instead, get in a job that needs what you offer. They are out there, but you don't know who you are. You don't know what that is. You don't know how to articulate that. You don't know how to command what you rightfully should be paid. You don't know how to validate it with data. All you know how to do is show up and produce for master. That's what we have to break. That's the cycle that has to be demolished.
I have no words. And so how do we do that? Where does that start? Is that a day-to-day process? Is that changing your environment when you are not on the, as we call it, the plantation? Let's just go ahead and
it is, right?
Okay. What do we do? How do we, and when do we know, right? So I'm going to give you an example because my story, right? Yes. I put in a letter of resignation and I said, all right, this is enough. I knew when my time was. My time, I felt the song in my ears that said, I was born by the river, right? In a little tent, right? And I knew a change was going to come, but I knew it had to start here first. I already knew what to do. I already knew how to transfer what I needed into the IRA. I already knew how to get the benefits on my own. It wasn't that I even needed that. That was not the issue. It was the quote unquote falsehood of this is stable. This is what I need right now. And that is just for me as an entrepreneur. But if, say, for instance, I want to leave that opportunity because I see that there is something else out there. I know for me, it was a mindset. And I had to just continue to remind myself, you done did this before. What are you doing? How do you, as someone who does what you do with the Unplug Conference, which we're getting ready to talk about, with the Unplug Conference, and as a consultant, get to this point where you allow people, do you help them to find out that value so they have that aha moment that I've had? How does that work?
Yeah. So a couple of things I will touch on with that. First question, what do you do if you realize, yeah, LaShawn, I'm that person you're talking about. Yeah, I'm that slave that's free, but I'm still choosing to be here. The first thing I would encourage you to do is figure out how else you can generate income that solely relies on your identity, your gifts, and who you are.
Yes.
So for example, let's say you work in finance and you work in a bank. You hate numbers, but you went to school for accounting. It's what you got stuck in, but your real passion is baking. And you just love baking and you bake on the weekends. People buy your little cupcakes, but because of time, we always can't find time for us. Well, we can find time for them, but that's a story for another day. But because of time, you haven't really honed in on how I can really make this a lucrative business.
Yeah.
So first I would say, what is it about baking that you like? Because it's not baking itself, it's something that it does to you. And you're going to have to keep digging down till you get to the granular of, oh, this is who I am. Oh, everything that I read, for me, for example, me figuring out what it was is I am a catalyst for greatness and success. So I know that my purpose in this life is to help other people understand where they're misaligned and where they're missing fulfillment and help them get right. It took me to really dig deep and figure out who was I, how do I show up, and what's my purpose to understand, that's what I'm supposed to do. And when I figured that out, I've never advertised or promoted any of my services, but people find me. So when things start attracting to you, that's how you know, oh, my purpose is somewhere over here. And so I would say really start sitting down, writing out what you enjoy and what about those things do you enjoy, so that you can start narrowing down where your niche and where your purpose is. I would also say to write down the things that people tell you you're good at. Like everybody's always saying what they call you about what they ask your opinion about what. And if you don't know, go ask 5 people. What is something that you would absolutely not do without me because I'm the best to do it? And take an inventory of what people say. You got to start getting nosy and curious about yourself if you want to get out of the funk that you're in with your employer. And that's where it starts. And how I help people do that, I also have the Greatness Lab. And the Greatness Lab is a community, a mentorship community for people who are professional and they just want to maximize their time here on earth. And they want to make sure that they understand who they're assigned to, what their purpose is, what they should be doing, how to reach them so that they can live the life that they were created to live. And so the Greatness Lab is a program that people apply to, again, not really having pushed it or marketing it, but it's based on a book that I wrote that people started asking me questions about, which was birth. The second year that I did the Unplug conference. So this is how you know that you're in alignment in life, when things start having a trickle effect. Ideas start popping out that manifest and produce. It's one thing to have an idea that you launch and nobody buys. And it's another thing to not have an idea, but everybody wants to buy something from you that you don't have yet. And so that's what you have to look at. It's not about what you want. It's about what you were created for. Especially as a believer or a disciple, you understand fully that this life is not your own. So if you are operating under the premise that this life is not your own, then you need to get curious about what then is my life about and who is it for?
Come on. And it sounds like there's a portion of that is, number one, serving others while your soul is yet being served, because therein lies the opportunity to give back while you are doing what you love. And I was told this years ago as a young woman. I might have been about 23, 24. So I'll share this. It sounds like what you're really saying is do what you love and everything else will take care of itself.
Everything else will take care of itself.
And it will. It absolutely will.
When you love it, it doesn't feel like work.
No.
And let me tell you another miseducation point that corporate America has on us. Corporate America leads you to believe that you experience success career-wise or professionally by making it to the 6-figure club, moving up on the org chart, having awards and recognition. None of that is success. Success, by my terms and definition, is defined on how many people walk up to you and say thank you.
Yeah.
Because the more people that are saying thank you, the more that you know you're living your life for others and not yourself. The more aligned you are with the purpose of your whole creation. So start striving for people to say thank you and equate that to success. not making it up org chart, climbing up an org chart, not your title. But that's what corporate America will lead you to believe. But how many CEOs and VPs and SVPs have you met that are successful but don't know how to talk to people, don't know how to treat people, are miserable,
right? Absolutely.
unhappy?
Yeah.
Is that what you want?
Good
money
point.
is the root of all evil. I don't even pray for money anymore, Paulette. I pray for provision. Because for me, money is a man-made system. Why am I asking a God that's greater than man to operate on their system? So I don't even pray for money anymore. I just pray for provision, and he always provides. And the way you know that you are out of touch with money, not that you asked this question, but if you have an idea, and I learned this from my mentor Nakia back in the day, but if you have an idea of how much money you could get right now, somebody will write you a check. So Paulette, give me the amount of money that you want right now that would make you feel whole and complete for it to be in your bank account. What amount would you say?
I couldn't.
You couldn't say an amount.
I couldn't. There is no price that you could put on that, right? For my peace. There is no price that you could put on that for me to be able to say that I live a life of joy and I love what I do. That is priceless. Like you literally could not, living the brownstone lifestyle, as I like to call it, literally. I live it every single day. Is it a challenge sometimes? Absolutely. But therein lies the rub, and the rub is necessary to see the pearl. You know what I mean? And so when we're having these conversations about, oh, how much money would it take? You couldn't pay me enough because the value is in the life that I'm living. You know what I mean? And that's not to say that, money doesn't help you to feel better about being able to pay your bills on time and pay the mortgage and pay your employees and all of the things as an employer. And even if you weren't and you were just taking care of just the regular things around your household, once those are still taken care of and you're still uneasy in your spirit and your soul, therein lies where you need to do some soul searching and digging deep. And every last one of it, this is where I feel, and to answer your question, every last one of us, no matter what it is, I don't care if it's creating toothpicks. If that makes your soul soar, you couldn't put a price on it. That's where do what you love and everything else will take care of itself comes from. Because like you said, the provision always shows up, right?
Always. And you got to get your mind off of things, a dollar amount that you're striving towards, because when if you're watching this or listening to this and you'd be like, well, I'm not Paulette. I know if I got $1 million or $10 million right now, I would be good. I would be straight. And I would say, whatever amount that you came up with, I want you to write down on a piece of paper where every penny of that amount would go to. Exactly. And after you buy your house, after you get your car, and you still got $8 million left, or whatever it is, what are you doing with that $8 million? That $8 million? And if you don't have an answer, or if your answer is I don't have to do anything with it, I just feel secure with it sitting in the bank, then I'm here to tell you, you will never see that $8 million. Woo! Because money needs an assignment. And the only way you get a place to assign money to is by being aligned with your purpose. Because ideas will come, and you will have a place to assign the money to, which will attract it to come your way. But money doesn't like to sit in wallets or bank accounts. It is fluid and it likes to move. So if you're holding attention on chasing the bag or getting money, it's just so you can say you have it, you'll never get it.
You'll never get it.
Because you don't have an assignment for it.
I felt that.
You don't have an assignment for it.
No, I felt that.
And potentially, you struggle with it because you can't manage the money that you have. And we all like to recite this scripture: God won't give you more than you can bear or more than you can handle. But if you can't handle $1,000 and you praying for 10 million, why do you think you're going to get it? It contradicts the word, and that doesn't contradict. So be a good steward of what you have by giving it an assignment, appreciating what you earn, focusing on the service part of life, not the superficial part of life. Watch, I guarantee you, how provision and people and clients and opportunities attract you.
Oh, so good. We could sit here all day, and I really want to. Okay.
We gotta go
I
live one day.
out.
We're gonna go live one day, Paulette, and we're just going to engage
Yes,
and
you need
answer
to.
questions and talk. So you let me know when you want to do that, and I will
Listen,
do that.
you ain't said nothing but a word. Okay. And this is, it's always such a treasure to have you come onto into the Brownstone and hang out with us and provide us with your wisdom and your insight on how things are done. But before we wrap, I want to make sure that we are talking about what you have goings on. And then we're gonna leave with the big surprise. But the first thing is that you have a conference that's coming up, ma'am. It's called the
Yes,
what?
the Unplug Experience Conference, and it is April 2nd through the 4th in Atlanta, and it's going to dive in all the things that we talked about today. So you
Absolutely. And
are
I love it.
HR, business leader, dualpreneur, aspiring to be entrepreneur. You need to be in the building.
Absolutely. And so let's talk about some of the things that are happening at the conference. I hope I have this in order. Day one,
Okay.
who do we have?
Yep. So day one, we got our VIP session. That's the first 3 sessions on there, but we're going to be talking about pretty much your cultural awareness, like people like to say woke or what have you, but just where are you right now culturally? Where are your mindset? And you know, you're going to take an assessment, get a quiz, and all these kind of things to really start that self-discovery journey that we were talking about today. And then I'll be doing a session about the identity crisis, define who you are to create impact and income. That is the formula and how you do that. But then open to the general admission for the event at 6 o'clock is our networking official kickoff powered by HR Offline. And then we're going to be having a panel discussion that night about the state of HR and the state of the industry and a pathway forward in light of DEI rollbacks and everything that's happening right now in work. How do we cope with work? And that's what we'll be talking about Wednesday night at 7.
Okay. And then day two, what are we
A
talking
whole
about?
bunch of stuff going on, but day 2 is really all about wellness. It's about your well-being. We're not starting this conference off talking about business and how to make it better because it's impossible to do that without you being your best self first. So day 2 is about rediscovering the best version of you through all of these things that we're going to be talking about, including the MisEducation of Corporate America, diving into burnout, and how you disrupt it, right? Reclaiming time so that you can do what you need to do, establish boundaries, right? Resetting your mental exercise and incorporating that into your life. We're just going to be, and my favorite one at 1:45, healing from workplace hurt. Letting go of trauma. We always talk about church hurt, but there's a thing called workplace hurt.
Workplace hurt.
Workplace denial. When you're not even consciously aware that you are hurt. But we're going to be talking about that and all of these things that are holding you back, how to release that. And then we're going to have our keynote, Thomas Q. Jones, come in, and we're going to do a fireside chat with him. And we're going to be talking about the power of the pivot, reinventing yourself without fear, and how he went from an NFL player for 12 seasons and decided, I want to be an actor, pivoting into his purpose. And he'll tell his story about how things now flow to him, how he has his own sitcom 4 seasons in called Johnson, how all of these things that we would have equated being an NFL player to as successful, he found his success in serving others. So that's all happening on day 2 of the event.
And then day 3 is the wrap up.
Day 3, last day, we're going out with a bang. We're going to be talking about how to foster DEI in an era where it's been rolled back, because we're going to touch on what they don't want to talk about, because it's my event and I can do that. And then later in the day, we're going to be talking about dualpreneurship, which is what I'm encouraging everybody to walk away with at least one income stream that they are going to start, so they're not relying on that corporate employer. And we're going to be talking about how to monetize either through AI, how to monetize either through building a course that you can do with AI that we're going to walk you through and teach you to. We're going to talk about how to create your own podcast and your own radio with yours truly. The best to ever do it. The reason why you're listening and watching right now will be in the to teach you how to do the same thing, because everybody has a story that somebody that's assigned to you needs to hear. What would this event be without an opportunity to teach you how to tell your story? And that's what, Paulette's going to be doing. So this event in its entirety is all about you. It's all about you prioritizing you. It's all about you saying, you know what, I'm ready to live life on my terms. I'm ready to no longer allow corporate America to define me. I'm ready to be able to walk into a room and dictate my terms and not be afraid to do so. I'm ready to stand confidently. I'm ready to be unapologetic about who I am, because I know that the Creator made me with so much intention and so much purpose that this corporate job can't even hold me back. If anything, it's him who needs me more than I need them. Everybody needs to walk out saying and reciting that declaration over their life. So say it with me. They need me more than I need them.
More than I need them. She done said a word on today. And lastly, before we wrap, one last thing. Guess who is the cover for the month of April? The one, the only, on the cover of Brownstone Living Magazine. Our April cover is the one and only LaShawn Davis of the Unplug Conference 2025. ExperienceUnplug.com is where I need you all to go and get yourself connected ASAP. It's probably still some space left for y'all. Listen, LaShawn, it's been such a pleasure to have you to join us. Your story is going to definitely be inside. We're going to be continuing this conversation, the MisEducation of Corporate America, inside of Brownstone Living Magazine, as well as Brownstone Worldwide. We're really super excited to have you and honored again to have you as the cover. So thank you for answering the call with us today. So we're excited. We're going to be sharing all of this information over at brownstoneworldwide.com. Beginning tomorrow. So if you still want to have an opportunity to spend some time and figure out if this is something that you definitely want to attend, I want you all to do that. Of course, every time I go live, I'm gonna talk about it. We're gonna speak it up because I went to last year's conference and it was absolutely amazing and eye-opening, and so I definitely don't want to miss it again. So listen, any last words for our audience?
Know who you are. Know you have value, you have purpose, you were created for a reason, and you're still here for a reason. Let's not waste any more time. Let's figure out what that is. If you need help, I'm available to help you, because my business isn't making money, it's to serve. So you can connect with me. Paulette will put how to connect with me on social media, or you can meet me in person at the conference next week. But my success really relies on you understanding who you are and living the life you were created to live.
Absolutely. LaShawn, once again, I want to thank you for coming to hang out with us. As always, you are greatly appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, the LaShawn Davis of the HR Plug and Experience Unplug, right? Am I saying it right?
Yes, ExperienceUnplug.com.
ExperienceUnplug.com is where you want to go and get that information. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and put it at the bottom of the screen so people can grab that, screenshot it as you need, and get into it because you need it, okay? So we're going to go ahead and add that banner and let you all see that. This is what I need y'all to do. Go on over there, ExperienceUnplug.com. ExperienceUnplug.com. Well, we already know what we like to do at the end of it. 1, love your life. It is the only one that you have. 2, live your life to the fullest and experience everything that is your life, because you only get one you might as well enjoy it. And lastly, breathe through every single moment. We'll see you on another edition of Brownstone's Best Business Review with our upcoming guests for this entire year of the Brownstone. Join us again at brownstoneworldwide.com, Cityscape Radio, and Brownstone Living Magazine. We'll see you around.